Hello, folks! Welcome to the L Talk. Here's Paradise, and I'm super glad you're here. This is the place where we're not just learning English, we're building something bigger, like fluency, like confidence, and becoming the best version of our English speaking selves. Whether you're just starting out or you've been at this for a while, my goal is something simple to help you feel comfortable speaking English and make learning fun. So, no boring lectures, boring classroom, no pressure, nothing. Just us learning, laughing, and growing one word, one phrase, one conversation at a time. And hey, this isn't just my channel, it's your space too. So if you ever have questions or ideas or anything, don't hesitate to drop a comment below for me. Oh, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos. And if you think you need subtitles, you can click that little button down here and you're good to go. Alright, let's get started and unlock that confident English voice you've got inside. Ready? Let's do this. Hey, one quick question. Have you ever felt like no matter how much you study English, you're just not getting anywhere? Well, like you've got the grammar rules down, you've memorized a ton of vocabulary, but when it's time to actually talk, nothing comes out, your brain just freezes up. Well, here's the thing, nobody tells you. Fluency isn't about studying harder, it's just about learning smarter. You don't just study your way to fluency, you live it. And in this video, I'm going to show you how exactly do that. By the end of this video, you'll know how to speak English confidently, naturally, and without overthinking any word. Let's do this. Alright, let's get real for a second. If you've been spending hours and hours on textbook and grammar drills and vocabulary lists, I've got news for you. It's not enough. No way. I mean, sure, those things help you understand the rules, but they don't make you fucking fluent. You ask why? Because fluency isn't about just knowing the language, it's about using it. Just think about how you learn your first language, your native language. Did you just sit down with a grammar book when you were 2 years old? Ridiculous. Of course not. You learned it by listening to people around you, trying to mimicking their sounds and eventually just speaking. And yeah, you probably said something pretty ridiculous things at first when the time that you didn't know the words, like me want cookie. But guess what? It worked out finally. Now you know your native language, don't you? So, trying to learn a language by just studying it is like trying to learn how to swim by reading about swimming. Can you do that just by reading the books about swimming? Of course not. You can read all that books all long, as many as you want, but until you actually jump into the water, you're not swimming. Let me give an example. I had this student who was amazing at writing essays in English. But when she had to order a coffee at Starbucks, a simple thing, she froze. Do you think why? Because she never practiced real life conversation. She was all the time too busy writing things instead of just talking about them and saying them out loud. So, how do you actually start using English in your daily life without moving to an English-speaking country? The answer is not that complicated. You can immerse yourself in it right where you are right now. So for example, you can start with the stuff you already love. Like if you're into movies or TV shows, you can watch them in English. Like you can start with subtitles in your language at the first time. But then you can switch it to English subtitles and eventually you can go on no subtitle version. It's like training wheels. They help you at first to just understand the plot, understand the story, but you won't need them forever. And another story I have for you, I had this one student who was obsessed with Friends series. She started watching it in English and after a few weeks she could just say Joey's famous line, "How you doing?" perfectly. I mean, she was just mimicking things that the characters were saying, and it worked out for her. It gave her the confidence to just move on and start with even simple sentences. Music, of course, music is another awesome way to learn. Pick your favorite English song and sing along with it. It doesn't matter if you sound like a dying cat. Your brain is picking up the rhythm and the pronunciation, and you are trying to mimic it. It doesn't matter if you are you are not a pro in it. Podcasts, of course, they are another good source. Find one about something you love, any topic, whatever you're just into. Listen while you're driving, cleaning, working out, anytime. Just try to listen it out. You can also follow English speaking creators on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, any other social media that you can just follow them and follow their content. It's just a fun way to pick up casual phrases and slang that they are not in textbooks, of course. Let's talk about something that trips up a lot of people: mistakes. Yes, baby, that is called mistakes. Nobody wants to sound stupid, right? Of course. But here's the thing: mistakes are gold when you're learning a language. Seriously, I mean it. Let me give you another story. One of my students once said, "I'm very boring," instead of "I'm very bored." And we both cracked up at that point. But guess what? She never made that mistake again, at least not in our classrooms. And now that I just talked to her previous week, she is one of the most fluent people I know in my classroom. Every time that you mess up, your brain learns something new. I hope. It's like falling off a bike. You figure out how to balance by getting back on. I mean, you do mistakes, you have scratches on your skin, and you learn how to avoid them. Speak, even if it's messy. The only way to get better at speaking or any other thing is by actually speaking, practicing, doing that thing in real life. It doesn't have to be perfect. Again, I'm saying it doesn't have to be perfect. Just get the words out. Practice with yourself, with a friend, anybody, language partner. Just try to get that voice out of your chest. So, I have this challenge for you. This week, try talking about your day in English. Say it out loud, even if it's just to yourself. I woke up, I made coffee for myself, I went to work, I did my homework, I spoke to myself in English, anything. The more you practice, the easier it gets. All right. Now let's get into some easy hacks you can start using just today, not tomorrow, today. The first one is shadowing. Here's a fun trick. Listen to a short clip from a movie, show, podcast, anything. Then pause it and repeat exactly what you heard. Try to match the tone, rhythm, pronunciation, intonation. Just try to keep it the same. Just repeat. It's like karaoke, but for speaking. Number 2 would be phrase notebook. Instead of just writing down single words, focus on phrases that you actually hear people saying. Like, for example, "What's up?" or "I'm on my way." These are the building blocks of real conversations. Don't go for single words, individual words. Go for phrases, useful phrases. Number 3 would be to do daily writing habits. Start with a little journal in English. Just write a few sentences about your day or your plans or anything that you want to write or talk about. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just get the words out and write them for yourself and try to make sentences. And try to make sentences that make sense to you. Number 4 would be to talk to yourself. I know it sounds a little weird, but narrating your actions in English is a game changer. Like, for example, while you're cooking, say, "I'm chopping up onions," maybe. It helps you think in English. I mean, this is very important. And last but not least, let's talk about mindset. Fluency isn't about knowing every single word or having just a perfect grammar. It's about connecting with people and expressing yourself and expressing your mentality. Just for fuck's sake, forget about perfection. Nobody speaks perfectly, not even native speakers. The goal in the first place is to communicate, not to sound like a textbook. You're not gonna be a professor or teach English in university. Celebrate small wins. Ordered food in English? understood a joke in a movie? That's huge! Clap for yourself! Celebrate those moments because they mean you're getting better. And try to keep yourself motivated and engaged in the process. Remember, you have to enjoy the process, even the tiniest little steps. I have another story for you. One of my students used to get so stressed about making mistakes. But when she started focusing on just getting her point across, everything just clicked. Now she loves speaking English because she's not overthinking every little word, and now she feels comfortable with herself in English version. All right, here's your challenge for next week. For the next week, pick one habit from this video and commit to it. Maybe it's watching a show in English, or maybe it's keeping a phrase notebook, or talking to yourself. Whatever it is, just stick with it for 7 days and see how much you improve. And hey, if this video gave you some new ideas, or I hope it gave a lot of new ideas, hit that like button, subscribe, and let me know in the comments. What's your biggest challenge when it comes to learning English? Let's figure it out together. We can work it out.